So day 7 comes to a halt, and we've had Jannik Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz going through on the men's side, and Coco Gauff out of Wimbledon, as is Emma Raducanu. So day 7 is in the books, and what a day 7 we had. I'm pleased to have with me today, it is Ben Lewis from Match Point Canada. How are you doing today, Ben?
I'm doing great, Ben. How are you? I would say maybe I'd be doing slightly better if we had any Canadians remaining in singles, but what can you do? It doesn't always work out, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the Brits tumbling out bit by bit. Raducanu went out today, and I think that's where we're going to start today's podcast. If you are watching at home, make sure you've hit a like and subscribed to the channel. But there's only one place to start if you're a Brit, and that is, unfortunately, Raducanu leaves the competition. But what a player that she came up against today in Lulu Sun or Sun. I know everyone's using the pun of the sun because we've got none of it in London right now. It's raining constantly, which is terrible. And she's the one like ray of light that's been brought to this tournament. The qualifier, she hit 50 winners against Emma Raducanu. It's the highest tally in a single women's singles match at the championships in 2024. What do you make of Lulu Sun, and do you think she could go all the way in this tournament?
I mean, I think there's some irony there in talking about who she defeated, because Emma Raducanu, as a qualifier back in 2021 at the US Open, went all the way, right? Came through qualifying and had that historic Cinderella run, which I'm sure as you're watching and it goes along, you think, well, this has to end at some point. But that's not necessarily the case, particularly, I think, on the women's side, where we can see these stirring upsets. And I think, I find we see this sometimes a little bit at Wimbledon on the grass court surface. It's a different surface and different tournament than really the rest of the calendar season. And some players, everything just clicks there perfectly. And that's clearly the case with Lulu Sun from New Zealand, who I'll readily admit I knew very little about her going into this event. Amazing to begin with that she qualified. And obviously, I mean, she's timing the ball extraordinarily well. I think it's interesting how much sort of press and hoopla we had around Raducanu before this fourth round match, maybe for different reasons other than her tennis and another great Brit that we will talk about. But Lulu Sun, unfortunately for British tennis fans, playing enemy number one with this incredible performance. I'm not convinced she can go all the way, but if she keeps playing like this, certainly she has the capability to make this run even deeper.
Yeah, I mean, she's got such a interesting game style. I think she's only 23 years old, and like you said, like, I didn't really know that much about her until she was going through the qualifying at Wimbledon. And the way she plays is so aggressive, and the fact that she's a lefty as well makes it quite awkward. I think Raducanu struggled to really stay in some of these rallies. Every time she was serving, it was nearly deuce every single service game, whereas Lulu Sun was managing to get through hers in like 15 or love. She has a lot of power, and she looks like she has a lot of confidence. She was taking a lot of balls early, like drive volleying, and really pushing Raducanu around the court. I think Raducanu was second best the whole match, but she showed a lot of fight to win that second set. That was not an easy. I think she could have easily lost this match in straight sets, but she showed definitely fight, and I think the crowd helped a bit as well. Maybe the pressure for Lulu Sun, maybe trying to close out against a Brit on centre court, that could have played a factor. But I really like her game style. I think that she's a breath of fresh air on the tour, and I don't know what it is. I feel like you said, it's a bit of a weird crossover with the qualifier. Meeting Raducanu, who was the qualifier, I would quite like to see her do something big at this tournament. I think she's a really likable character. I think that she just brings something different to the whole tour. And this tweet that I'll bring up now, it says, so Lulu Sun is Chinese because her mother is Chinese, She's a Croatian because her father's Croatian. She's a Kiwi because she's born in New Zealand. She's Swiss because she was raised in Switzerland. And she's Japanese because the sun rises in the east.
That's good.
I mean,
yeah.
I think she ticks a lot of boxes. I mean, she's a very likable player as well. What do you make of her sort of rise to fame in this tournament?
It's a great story, and I think obviously as this tweet indicates, she has that perfect name to sort of make puns off of. And I think what you highlighted, which can be really key on the grass surface too, is an unorthodox game style. And I think that was the case against Raducanu the entire time. She just completely took away all time and space from Emma, who really never was able to find her groove and feel like she had room to breathe in this match. And if you can do that successfully on grass, which is a really low bouncing surface where your rhythm and timing is pivotal, if you're hugging the baseline and timing the ball the way Lulu Sun is, you can have a performance where you have 50 winners. I mean, it seems like the stat line we'd expect from one of those wild Ostapenko matches where Yelena is just in that zone and can't be touched. So you would never expect that from almost an unknown qualifier to now reach the quarterfinals and take out the huge British hopeful, who, as you highlighted, I mean, she would have had 100% of the crowd behind her in this one.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a few more tweets for Lulu here saying that she will rise to at least number 53 in the world after her win, and she's guaranteed like a massive prize money of £375,000, which is more than her career earnings to date. And she now will play Donna Vekic in the quarterfinals for a place in the semi-finals. One of those two will make it to the semi-finals, which is really exciting because both of them, I think, are great grass court players. Like we've seen Vekic, I mean, we know how good she is on the grass, and she came into this tournament in such good form, and she's continued it. She knocked out Paula Badoza, who suddenly found a run of form out of nowhere. Yep. I don't know where that came from. Mm-hmm. Really, really big result that was, because I thought it would go the other way. I thought Badoza was just hitting a bit of a purple patch and was just going to get by her. I mean, I thought it'd be 3 sets, but it went the other way. Donna Vekic, solid. How do you see that quarterfinal playing out? Do you reckon Lulu can get through Vekic as well?
I think it's possible, and Vekic was really emotional actually after that win over Badosa, her first time reaching the quarterfinals of Wimbledon. And as you said, I do think her game works well for the grass. She can get her frame really low and also stay tight to the baseline. Really like nice pure ball striker, which I love. And Vekic has been around obviously for a long time, and sometimes I wonder what the dynamics of a matchup like this. Is Vekic really the one who's putting more pressure on herself because she's thinking, wow, what an opportunity I have to make a first career Grand Slam semifinal. It doesn't get better than this, facing a qualifier in the quarters. And Lulu Sun is kind of just living one of those dreams, right? Where maybe she is swinging freely. She's not feeling the pressure. Already what she's done here is so far beyond expectations that I would say kind of the pressure in this matchup is on Donna, who will be probably the betting favorite, but I wonder if it's going to be quite close, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. I haven't really looked into the odds. I'll tell you now, I mean, Lulu Sun's 3.4, Vekic is 1.33.
Getting pretty good value on Sun there, actually.
Very good. I mean, if you wanted her against Raducanu today, she was at 5s, and I think Raducanu was at 1.2 or something. Crazy favourite. Yep. You did well if you backed that one. I think JG backed it, won some money. Well done to him. Anything just to go against Raducanu, I think, unfortunately. Okay. But yeah, he spotted that one, and he spotted another one as well, which was he spotted an injury early from Madison Keys against Jasmine Paolini. He spotted it when she was 5-2 up. He put the bet on for Paolini. It was at about 7-1, and then it did come in. Well, it came in through a retirement from Madison Keys, which I thought was really... I was a bit annoyed that she was taking a medical time out at the start, I'm not going to lie. And then I realised she was actually really injured, and I felt really bad for her because she was crying. Madison Keys is such a great grass court player, and she looked like she was going to take that against Paolini, but this Paolini stories continue as well. There's a lot of stories on the women's side at the moment And Jasmine Paolini in 2024 seems to be one of the big stories. And she hadn't won a match at Wimbledon before this Wimbledon. And now she's all the way to the quarterfinals. I mean, what do you make of her 2024? Is it just the Sinner effect, just transferring over into the women's side?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously been a career year. Winning in Dubai was massive, and I thought maybe at the time when she did win Dubai, I was saying, okay, here's a player who's been like a steady quality kind of top 30 to top 50 player. She caught maybe a hot patch and won a big tournament, but are we really going to see more? And then we saw what she did at the French Open, just an incredible run to the Roland Garros finals with some huge wins along the way. And, I was on coverage actually for her match against Bianca Andreescu. In the third round, they played a great, really, really tight opening first set. And Paolini's ability, she is such a good mover around the court. She covers the corners so well. She's athletic. She's quick. She's a good ball striker. It feels like she does a lot of things to high quality. And I feel like she's maximizing her strengths on the court right now. I didn't particularly think going into this tournament she could transfer what she did on clay to the grass so quickly. I thought, okay, maybe, it would be time for her to at least win a match at Wimbledon, maybe two. I thought actually she might get that rematch with Bianca on grass and was actually favoring Andreescu in a grass court matchup. But I was really impressed by the way she played in that third round match. And Madison Keys, who, as you said, I mean, such an unfortunate timing for an injury, but she's a phenomenal grass court player. What a spectacular run for Paolini. And I think maybe when you have that match toughness and pedigree and someone like Paolini who's been around for some time, it's at some point, sometimes everything just clicks and you get that mental clarity. And that seems like that's what's happened for Jasmine at this point in her career.
Yeah, because it happens. It's one of the it's one of the only sports where you never know when your peak is going to come, I don't think, in tennis. And then when it suddenly comes, you just have to ride that wave for as long as possible. And I feel like she's having a bit of a Karatsev year. I mean, this is what it seems like. Karatsev was about 27, 28 when he got to the semi-finals of the Australian Open. He won Dubai as well, I think it was. Was that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
It's a few parallels between the two, and I think the way that she's playing, I mean, this next stat just shows it. The live WTA race after today, she's in fourth place behind the big three on the women's side. She's ahead of Coco Gauff.
I was going to say, I mean, to think that she's ahead of players like Coco Gauff, Jessica Pegula, even Zhang, who made the Australian Open finals at the front end of the year, for her to already have 3,600 plus points at this stage. It tells you maybe that French Open finals run was not just sort of the outlier or the fluke, that she could be here to stay and continue some of these results maybe for this season and beyond.
Yeah, and being ahead of Coco Gauff is a massive thing. And what happened to Coco today, I mean, I'm literally, I know that people keep saying stop saying the word shocked on certain things, but this one I actually was very shocked.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think she was going to lose to Emma Navarro, and she's another player like a Jasmine Paolini who has really impressed me as well. She's sort of not come from nowhere, but she's been a gradual builder on the tour, on the women's, and she's only 23 years old. The way that she's played this tournament, if you look at her run, it's actually been pretty difficult run, and she's done like a great job of getting through this tournament. I mean, we have a look here. She knocked out, I think that's Qiang Wang in the first round. That was an easy one. Naomi Osaka, straight sets. I know it's on grass, but still a good one. This next one, people probably don't even give it the credit it deserves, which is Schneider, who was coming into this tournament in incredible form. She beat her in 3 sets, and I thought that was impressive. But then Coco Gauff in straight sets. What happened today to Coco Gauff? Is it just the forehand that's the big problem for Coco? And if it is, like, what does she have to do? Because I lost count of how many forehand unforced errors she had today that in big moments that gave games, points, like everything. She was ahead in this first set and she threw it away essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really strange match from Coco's side if we start with her because firstly I thought the draw, as you mentioned, I thought the draw was really opening up for Gauff ahead of
Yep.
this match. And you thought, wow, okay, Sabalenka's pulled out of this tournament. Iga is gone, even though we don't have reliability from Swiatek on grass. Nevertheless, the world number one is out. Ons Jabeur, who is runner-up 2 consecutive years, is out. And you're sort of looking around the field and thinking who has maybe some Grand Slam pedigree, who's going to be comfortable here to do damage, make a deep run, have a shot at the title. And the two names obviously I circled were Rybakina, she's done it before, and Coco Gauff. And I was very prepared to, have that expectation of seeing Gauff probably at least in the semis. So yeah, a very surprising performance from her side where she just never found a groove. And I know there was a talking point about coaching and seeking out coaching when things aren't working. And it almost seemed to have a detrimental effect in this match. And the tweet you're bringing up now highlights that perfectly. Like she was searching for answers. She's looking to her box, looking to Brad Gilbert for answers. Why is this not working out? And she wasn't getting the answers at least she wanted or needed at that time and never figured this one out. And I always feel like on grass courts, I know the length of a tennis match is always the same. Whatever surface you're on, you got to get to 6 to win the set. You got to win it by 2, etc. I feel like in grass, you have less time to problem solve because it's harder to break serve compared to if you're on clay. So, or even on a hard court surface. So Coco normally has that time and ability to problem solve when the forehand is not working. She was not afforded that time in this match against Navarro, who was obviously in a really, really nice groove and having a great tournament.
Yeah, and she meets Paolini now in the next round in the quarterfinals. That'll be an exciting one because we're going to have a semi-finalist out of one of those two as well. We could have, it's between Vekic, Lulu Sun, Paolini, and Navarro now. They're going to one of the two out of those 4 are going to be in the semi-final of Wimbledon, and one of them's going to be in the final, which is insane to think about, really.
Yeah.
And looking at all those names, you'd think Lulu Sun has a chance.
Yeah, honestly, she does. I guess you would say the favorite to come out of that bracket and maybe make the final would be the winner of Paolini Navarro, but there's zero guarantee there. And obviously Lulu Sun, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to see her in a final of Wimbledon. I'm very interested in the Navarro Paolini matchup, to be honest, because I feel like Navarro, I didn't think she would click this quickly on grass. This is only her second time playing Wimbledon, and she lost in the first round last year. Paolini, same circumstance, lost, had never been past the first round of Wimbledon, but then she's been to a French Open final as a big title this year. These are both like two really strong players enjoying career best years. Paolini in particular having an extraordinary year, but Navarro being right there. So I feel like out of those 4 in that section that we're talking about, it's the 2 who are having the best seasons to date that are lining up for a spot in the semis with Paolini and Navarro.
That's right, and I think Navarro's knocking on the door of the top 10 pretty much. If she wins one more match, she's pretty much there, I think. I think she'll be on like 12 or something in the world if she wins one more match. She'll overtake Madison Keys, Samsonova as well. She'll be tucked in just behind Ostapenko's in 11th. Just want to go to this one because we just were speaking about Gauff. I think that Gil sort of hit the nail on the head, really, with his tweet earlier saying, I've always accepted the line of thinking that legalised on-court coaching unburdens the players, makes it easier for them to perform tactically and emotionally. But I saw it go the opposite direction. Coco seemed to let the possibility of coaching consume all of her focus. I think this is a great spot and a great tweet, very well worded by Gil. Yeah, it's gone the wrong way, isn't it? This is what the thing that was supposed to be helping players, and she's completely let it ruin her match by looking to the box for answers and not trying to problem solve herself whatsoever on the tennis court. It's like sort of self-destruct, really, a little bit from Coco Gauff. This is where it really does, like all those people who said I told you so with the on-court coaching, we shouldn't have it, players should just do it on their own. They're looking looking right at the moment. I liked the on-court coaching because I think it can help some players who do struggle mentally, and when they look to somebody else to give them advice. But they're not supposed to be a crutch. You can't just lean on them for the whole entire match. You have to have some sort of nuance yourself to get yourself out of trouble. You must have worked so many times in training doing like plan A, plan B, plan C. What happens if my forehand's not working? What happens if my serve isn't popping? You must know all of the go-tos for each thing. There can't be that many surprises that Emma Navarro threw up. She's a fellow American. She must have practiced with her probably 100 times. It was a bit shocking to me that she was. I think it was a little bit of a get-out clause. Just put the blame on your coach, and it wasn't a very good look for me.
Yeah, and as you said, I think highlighting on-court coaching. I think there are some players who the way they play and tactically work on the court, they are going to benefit from it, and others who won't. And I always see Coco as a very mentally tough player, very sound, and has the ability to problem solve on the fly in tennis matches. So if I were looking at certain women's players and watching them, of maybe the last ones to seek out on-court coaching, I'd probably say, Coco, why are you doing this? Like, she's pretty good. She's a pretty good problem solver herself. So I'm surprised she even attempted to resort to that. And maybe that happened, in fact, surprised her coach, Brad Gilbert, who either wasn't saying what she wanted to hear at that moment, or didn't have the right answers. And obviously you can't go on the court and hit the ball for her. So it was a strange match, but we shouldn't take away credit from Navarro's performance either.
No, definitely not. She played fantastically well. And like you were saying, we were sort of looking to Coco after Iga had gone out. But then this tweet highlights the fact that Coco's loss means that she has a worse Wimbledon record than Iga. I mean, she's both 11-5, but Iga has been to a quarter-final. Both massively struggle with the forehand grip breaking down on grass. Interesting that the grass narrative by media and here is so different for the two of them. Yeah, I mean, it is true. There is a very different media narrative which is portrayed. But yeah, Iga, it maybe isn't that as bad then. But I feel like it is a bit too quick for her, the grass. But she has been to a quarter-final. Coco Gauff seems to still be struggling at Wimbledon, and I thought it'd be the one she'd win first out of all the slams.
Yeah, I'm stunned that she hasn't been at least to a semi of Wimbledon. Given as you said, she had a lot of success on the surface when she was very, very young, at age 16. I think made the round of 16. I wonder if part of that narrative also built upon like, we set the bar really high for Iga based on the fact she's won 5 majors, obviously 4 at Roland Garros, but still we've seen her hoist a number of Grand Slam titles, where with Gauff we have the one US Open from last year. So if that's just sort of a different standard of expectation, maybe.
Yeah, quite possibly. Other sort of news on the women's, if Paolini wins her next match as well, she'll move up to number 5 in the world in the actual rankings. So she'll overtake Jess Pegula. I mean, there's a lot of movement on the women's side. It's pretty crazy. This Ben Rothenberg tweet, just the final one we'll speak about on the women, says one of these 12 women will win Wimbledon this year. Putintseva, Ostapenko, Danielle Collins, Barbora Krejcikova. I don't know how she's doing it in this tournament. It's crazy. Raducanu, Kalinskaya, Svitolina, Jinyu Wang, Lulu Sun, Vekic, Paolini, Navarro. I mean, out of all those names, Raducanu has to be the big favourite. But I don't think she's got a very easy next match. She's playing Kalinskaya next, and I think that's probably one of the toughest matches out of everybody in there at the moment, based upon current form. She nearly won Berlin. What was it?
Yeah.
4 match points or something? So she was so close to winning the tournament before coming into Wimbledon, and now she's continued her great form at Wimbledon, and she's got Sinner in her corner, giving her a few tips.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Can't be bad.
No kidding. Yeah, obviously the name that stands out here out of the 12 has to be Rybakina. Not just the 2022 title, but the way she plays on this surface. She completely hit Wozniacki off the court, by the way, in her previous match. I think Love and won. Just a phenomenal performance. So to me, she has to be maybe not an overwhelming favorite, but certainly someone you would not be surprised whatsoever if she was hoisting her second Wimbledon title at the end of the 2 weeks. I'm also really curious to see if Danielle Collins can keep this going. Obviously, it's been a career year for her as well. She's had a phenomenal season, has an Australian Open runner-up performance in her past a couple of years ago, and it's the final year of her career. She's just been hitting the ball incredibly well. I didn't think she could maybe do it on this surface, so to see her put together a performance where she's into the second week, I think I wouldn't be surprised to see her in the semis and knocking at the door for a run to the final.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty insane. I mean, if she beats Barbora Krejcikova, then into the quarterfinals, and then who knows?
Yeah,
I think anything's
exactly.
possible with Danielle Collins right now.
Absolutely.
I had her going deep in this tournament, but I think I was just jumping on the bandwagon, hoping that she'd have another run. I wasn't sure if I was even that confident really in it, but now I'm fully invested in Danielle Collins' final year, and this is the best she's ever done at Wimbledon. I feel like she's having one of those years where she just all the pressure's off, so she's just going for it. So fair play to her. Let's move over to the men's, because I know that there was probably more going on the women's side than there was on the men's today. But we have to speak about who was it? Carlos Alcaraz. We'll speak about, and we'll speak about it in the same breath as who he's going to be facing next. So Carlos Alcaraz went through in 4 sets against Ugo Humbert, and he'll be facing Tommy Paul in the quarterfinals. And yeah, I mean, they've got a 2-2 head-to-head, these two. It was the match we were all hoping for when we saw the draw come out. Obviously, the Queen's champion from last year, the Queen's champion from this year, the current reigning Wimbledon champion, and one of the only players on tour who actually causes Carlos Alcaraz a lot of problems on a tennis court. So Alcaraz faced a bit of adversity today as well. I thought it'd be straight sets against Humbert, to be honest, but he had a bit of a wobble in this third set. Got breadsticked by Ugo Humbert. I mean, Humbert's a great grass court player, but there's been sort of spells in each match of Alcaraz that I've seen dips in either confidence or self-belief, or I'm not really sure what it is, but he can't maintain that intensity for 3 sets in a row at the moment. It seems that there's a 1-set dip, and I don't know where it is in the whole 5 sets, but there's always a dip in there, and you see it very frustrated. But he always rallies and brings it back at the end, and he always has the fight to be able to win the match. When he plays someone a bit better, someone who can maybe take the match to him, is that still going to be there? That's the big question. And Tommy Paul took out Bautista Agut in straight sets today. He'll be nice and fresh. So will Carlos. I think we're going to get a really good battle in that quarterfinal. What do you make of Carlos's performances so far leading up to this?
Yeah, you're right. He's had little dips in moments in matches. I don't think it's completely out of character for Carlos in that best of 5 format in particular, where you have a little more time to sort of maneuver your way through a match there, that we see some peaks and valleys in his tennis. And obviously, I mean, he had a proper scare in the 3rd round against Francis Tiafoe. And, you know, Tiafoe, who is enduring an abysmal season by his standards. I mean, someone who was knocking on the door of the top 10, you'd expect him to be top 15 player at least going into Wimbledon with a negative win-loss record, and losing to players you certainly wouldn't expect him to lose to. He seems to have the ability to get up for these big matches when he's playing top players, and Tiafoe, I thought, probably put up his best performance of the season. So Carlos Alcaraz, I think, being able to problem solve there and fight through that one. Humbert, I still think Carlos played like an overall solid enough match. Ugo, as you said, is a good grass court player, a really good ball striker from the back, takes the ball early. This matchup is going to be interesting, though. Actually, Tommy Paul has been a nightmare for Carlos in Canada. Both of his wins have come, one in Toronto and one in Montreal on the hard courts. He's twice spoiled Carlitos's visit to our tournament, so he's always a bit of a danger. And he's I think really proven himself Tommy Paul the last couple of years, this year in particular, he's an all-surface player. I mean, he's put it together earlier this year on clay, his career best year on clay. Now he has a grass court title to his name, winning Queens is huge. He's just on a great run of form. He seems to know how to navigate the surface. He moves incredibly well. I think he's more comfortable at the net. I think his serve has improved. So I think if Carlos is not locked in for this one from the get-go, this could be a match to obviously really keep your eye on it. And Paul is going to have a puncher's chance, I think, to win. But I would still back Carlitos to find his way through here. I would be surprised, however, if it's straight sets.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really tough match. I think that the way that Tommy Paul is playing, he has the belief. Like you said, he's an all-surface player, junior French Open champion as well. Yep. And now he's doing it on the grass. We know he's good on the hard courts in American. It goes without saying. It's a really tough match to call. I thought I was really impressed with him at Queens. The way he dealt with Draper, I thought Draper was in incredible form, and then he just made it look easy against him and against Musetti as well. Musetti was in great form. He made the final look easy. I think that he struggled a little bit through the tournament though. I was surprised that he's dropped those 2 sets to Virtanen, dropped a set to Martinez, but then Bublik in straight sets and Batista good. He seems to be coming good at the right part of the tournament right now. Tommy Paul. He's had his little blips. And now he's in full force ahead of this Carlos Alcaraz match. I think this has the potential to be another 5-setter, if I'm honest.
Maybe. It wouldn't shock me. Yeah,
I think that's what the crowd will want for sure. I mean, I think the crowd will want 5 sets, and the crowd will want Alcaraz to win in the 5th, and that's sort of how the narrative plays out. But yeah, I think the way that Alcaraz played against TFO, if he plays like that against Tommy Paul, he could find himself on the wrong side of a defeat, though, unfortunately, because I don't think Tommy Paul will make the same mistakes later in the match that TFO did. I feel that you saw a complete dip in level in that 5th set from TFO.
Well, and once Alcaraz got on top of him in that 4th set tiebreak, I felt like the match had completely turned at that point, and maybe a sense of loss of belief from Tiafoe by not winning that 4th set. You're going into a 5th with Alcaraz, so Carlos finding his way through. Yeah, I think Alcaraz should feel confident still coming in, even if he's lost a few sets along the way. Just his ability to win when he's not at his best, I think, is an understated quality of Carlos, that Alcaraz does fight through matches when he's not playing his peak tennis. And that's one of the key qualities, I think, to a champion.
Speaking of key qualities to champions, let's speak about the man who has all the qualities of a champion right now, Jannik Sinner. He took out Ben Shelton today in pretty much exactly how I said he would take him out, which is so bizarre. I said he'd beat him in straight sets and there would be 1 tie break. So, it was close from Shelton in the 3rd set. He should have really won it, I think. But he had a few set points as well. He allowed Sinner back into the match. And this is just the new improved Sinner. It doesn't matter if you're down 4-1. That set's still up for grabs. And he just clawed his way back into the set. And if it goes to a tiebreak, how many is that in a row that he's won now? Is that 8 tiebreaks in a row that he's won? I mean, he's just a tiebreak master at the moment, Jannik Sinner. And he's scary because once you get into a tiebreak, even against someone with 153 mile an hour serve in Ben Shelton, he still beat him. He outlasted him, and his serve's nearly as good, if not better, on the grass. Jannik Sinner, it's so accurate, so powerful, and he just backs it up in the rallies. As soon as you're in a rally on your own serve, you're nearly screwed because he barely misses. It's just like, I've said it so many times this tournament. It's like a robot on the court. He just keeps on pinging it to your backhand, powering it to your forehand, pinging it this way. He's got good movement, one of the best movers on the tour now, I think. I think we were looking at Djokovic, we were looking at Alcaraz going, wow, how do they do it? He's really upped his movement game in 2024. He's so quick, gets in position to be able to hit the right shot all the time now. It's unbelievable. Straight sets against Shelton, and now He's into the next round, and he's going to be facing Daniil Medvedev, who pretty much didn't even have to play a match. He just went through. Dimitrov retired after, what was it, 8 games?
Yeah, 5-3 in the first. But yeah, look, normally you'd get a matchup like this, Medvedev Sinner, at least in a semifinal. It's pretty rare that this would be a showdown that we actually see in the quarters. Quite unusual, given that we're normally used to both of these guys within the top 4 of the rankings. Obviously, they played 5 sets at the Australian Open in the finals earlier this year. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with Sinner. I mean, the precision from the back of the court, the ground strokes, when he's on, it's almost machine-like. And I will say now, like beginning of the tournament, he was my pick to win it. Just I feel like at this stage, the way Sinner is playing, his quality of ball striking, the movement, which is now elite. It was always very, very good. Now it's elite. And the serve, which is a plus serve. There's really no weakness or area in his game where you can properly exploit. You could argue, okay, he's not a fantastic net player. I don't think that really matters for Sinner at this point. The way he's playing from the back of the court. And you feel like, I mean, the tie breaks, you feel like there's zero margin for error in a tie break with him. He's not going to make a mistake. So you have to play flawless for a chance. And that's why I think he can win. That's why I think he can win this tournament, frankly, is there's like that half question mark around Novak and the knee, or is he feeling perfect? And Alcaraz doesn't look his very best. And I really do feel like you have to be at your A+ game and your peak form to beat Jannik Sinner right now. And we'll see. I mean, Medvedev's had a lot of trouble with Sinner over the past stretch of matches. What is it, 5 in a row, 6 in a row? 5 in a row, I think.
Well,
wow.
He's now, this one's to level the head-to-head. He was down 6-love in the head-to-head. Now it's 6-5 after he just won 5 in a row. And if he beats him in this one, they're level. So
look at that. I mean, the scoreline in Miami is like, wow, 1-2. That's crazy. And I mean, I really felt for Medvedev in that Australian Open final. You're thinking, wow, this is his chance. I mean, and he just ran out of gas, but you could see Sinner elevated his level. And now I also just his confidence. He's an introverted, shy, quiet, nice guy. So he doesn't make sort of any grandiose statements, but when he entered the press conference to begin the tournament, and he was asked about any doubts of conditioning or anything, and he said, I have no doubts at all. I was like, wow, okay, this guy, like, he's here to win the tournament. That was the message for me that he sent in that press conference.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the favourite for a reason coming in. I feel like this tiebreak mastery that it all began in Beijing when he had 2 tiebreaks against Daniil Medvedev in the final, and both of them he just won with ease. 7-2. It was almost like he just thought, I know, we'll just both hold serve all the way through. Let's see you in the tiebreak. And then he got to the tiebreak and he was like, I'm just going to beat you up now. And then he just knew what to do against Daniil. It was just crazy. And then since then, he's just been so good in tiebreaks. I mean, you see he lost 1 to him there in, was it the Nitto ATP finals, but he won the whole match, won 6-1 in the next set. So it didn't really matter too much. He won a tiebreak against him there. I mean, the tiebreaks are just one of the hardest things to win in tennis. When you're in a tight match with somebody at these top levels, like a top 5 opponent, if you're able to win tiebreaks, I think it wins you matches. And he's proved that so many times now. I mean, look at his ridiculous run. I mean, this is Jannik Sinner before a semi-final stage since Shanghai 2023. 41 wins, 0 losses.
Unreal.
Insane. I mean, what is this guy taking? I mean, I need some of it. I guess it's not all just carrots. It's probably something a bit more. He's a changed man. I don't know what's changed in him. And even with this new Kalinskaya thing, hasn't distracted him at all. It's not like a Tsitsipas.
No.
He's just continued on. It's just inspiring him more to play better. So, I mean, I can't wait to see how he's going to perform in his next match against Medvedev. I assume, for me, it's going to be another win. That's my personal opinion. I think so too. I'll be stunned, honestly, if Daniil finds his way through that match, especially best of 5. That's it. We've got a few matches which are on tomorrow, so I'll quickly bring up those ones so that you can have a look at them. And I want to get your take, just a quick prediction on the matches for tomorrow. And then I'm going to put out a separate video with my ones on, but it would be nice to hear your one. We got Musetti versus Umpechi Pelicard first.
I mean, Pericard, this incredible Cinderella run. I think it stops here. Credit to him though. Like what a phenomenal debut at a Grand Slam. I don't think anybody saw this coming. I mean, a few weeks ago he was losing first round of a challenger. So fourth round of Wimbledon. What a phenomenal week. One he'll never forget. I think Musetti gets through here though, maybe in 4 sets. I'm looking down
Nice.
Dimmenauer and Fees. That's a great matchup. You know, I had Arthur Fees kind of spoiled my bracket because I had Hurkacz pretty far, and
Same.
that was a big shock to me. I think Dimmenauer though he's really well rested, getting that walkover in the 3rd round, I believe. So he hasn't
Yep.
played that much tennis. He's having a phenomenal grass court season. I think he takes care of business there in 4 sets. Taylor Fritz is playing well. So is Sasha Zverev, and I think this one's going to be tight. Probably looking at least 2 tiebreak sets, if not more. I'm going to say Zverev in 5. And then Novak Runa is really, really interesting, honestly. I think Holger has enough juice to really, really push him. This is going to be a really physical match, really gritty from the back of the court. Novak might have to go into the trenches to win this. I think he finds a way to do it. And I'll go Novak in 5. I think this will be his biggest test of the tournament to date.
Nice. I like that for some men's ones. I'm thinking I might actually do my predictions now as we're going through them,
Sure.
and then I'll give you mine as well. Because JG's just messaged me and he told me that he's put his predictions in a little sheet that we're going to run we have a little bit of competition on the podcast to see if we can get the right winner and the right set score as well. So
Nice.
I'll bring this one up on here, and this is the men's one. So he's gone with de Minaur in straight sets. I don't think it's going to be straight sets. I think it'll be de Minaur in 4. I'm going to go, I'll put ADM. So I think de Minaur in 4. He's gone Zverev in 4. This is where we actually differ. I think Taylor Fritz is going to defeat Sasha Zverev.
Okay.
I think it'll be in 5 sets as well. I think it's not going to be that exciting. It's going to be probably about 40 aces each, but I think Fritz will just get it done. I really like Fritz. He's been deep in Wimbledon before.
Yep.
I think this could be an opportunity for him this year. Pericard Musetti, unfortunately, I feel the same. I think this could be the end for it. I'm going to agree with JG and say Musetti in 4 as well. And he's gone with Runa to knock out Djokovic. He's still always trying to he just wants to get him out of the draw. These Rafa fans, what can you do? I mean, I haven't been that convinced by Djokovic, I have to say, in this tournament. But I think he's saving himself for a big one, and I think he'll win this one. I don't think he'll win if it'll go to 5. To be honest, I think that might be a bit too much. I'm going to go Djokovic in 4 because that seems to be Djokovic's scoreline. Really, 1 set to work
drop the first set, and yeah, maybe.
Exactly. Let's go to the women's and let's get your predictions on the women's next. We've got Collins Krejcikova. How do you see that one going?
I mean, I just said I was high on Collins, so I'll go Collins in straights, honestly.
I'm going in 3. I think that Krejcikova, for some reason, I don't know how she's playing so well, but I think she'll grab a set. She'll probably grab the first set. Ostapenko Putintseva. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, this is a tough one. I'll go Ostapenko in 3.
I'm going Ostapenko in straight sets. I think that she may batter her, and I don't no disrespect to Putintseva, but Ostapenko's looking ridiculous this tournament. She could win the whole thing.
She's
looking that good. I think that they put together a list of how far she's run in the whole entire tournament, and it's only 2 kilometers. Yeah. So it's just like she's literally just standing still and battering the ball.
That's right.
It's just insane. Kalinskaya Raducanu. I mean, this is one of the tougher ones.
Yeah, I'm taking Rybakina, but in 3. I think Kalinskaya will put up a little bit of a fight in the second set, so I'll go Rybakina in 3.
I'm going exactly the same. I think that she will put up a fight as well. there's part of me, if she hadn't have beaten Wozniacki so comfortably, I would have maybe gone with Kalinskaya. But that performance really scared the heebie-jeebies out of me. So I'm going with Raducanu. I think she's got to be the favourite now. And plus, she's just seen everybody else go out. So she's probably going to be pretty fired up.
For sure.
Svitolina versus Jinyu Wang.
Yeah, I'll take. Svitolina had a great win over Jabeur. I think this could be a longer match, but I like Svitolina in longer matches. I'll take Alina in 3 sets.
And I'm actually going to go against the grain here. I'm going to go Jinyu Wang. I know she's only 22 years old. She's having a bit of a run in this tournament. I'm going to have her in 3 sets as well.
Okay.
So those are our predictions. I'll pop in, see how we did in the day 7 ones. I'll give the results of that one on tomorrow's podcast because I'm not going to go through all of them just now because it looks like JG probably won anyway. Look, Vekic in 2-1.
Wow.
Key. Oh, we both had Keys. Both lost there. He had Lulu Sun to win in 3. See, JG did it again. We both had Gauff. Look, I mean, it looks like I've lost, to be honest, on these ones. Let's have a look at the men's quickly. Paul, I had that one. Yeah, Paul in 3. Alcaraz in 3. We both got that wrong, but got the right winner. Sinner in 3. We both had it, and I had Dimitrov to win. I mean, that was... he just about pipped me there. It barely counts, that one.
Yeah, tough
but
one.
I think that's enough. I think we can wrap this one up, to be honest. Oh, my word. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining us. It's been a Ben duo on this podcast. Appreciate you filling in for JG. If anybody watching at home wants to go and check out Match Point Canada, they do a great podcast as well. It's you and Mike McIntyre.
That's right. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Go over, check them out. It's a really, really good podcast. You always speaking to a lot of the Canadian players as well, which is really, really interesting. And let everybody know what your Insta handle and your Twitter is, if that's possible.
Yeah. You can find us on Instagram at Matchpoint Canada, all one word. We're on Twitter, X at Matchpoint Can, CAN, or in capital letters. But come check us out. We have recent interviews as well with Leylah Annie Fernandez just a couple weeks ago, and we had Bianca Andreescu on the other month. So come pay us a visit.
Brilliant stuff. Right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks everyone for joining. Remember, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and join us tomorrow for another Roundup podcast.